Hello guys and welcome back to SWTOR Central, and in this video I'm going to be explaining what a discipline is along with the Holy Trinity. So if you are a new player to Star Wars: The Old Republic, then make sure that you sit back and relax because this video is about to get awesome. Okay, so you've just logged into the game and you're about to create your first character, yet you can see that you can choose from 8 different classes across 2 factions. And not only can you choose from those classes, but you can then later on choose from one of 2 different advanced classes for each of these first 8 classes. And then after that, you can choose between 3 different disciplines for each of these classes. So I think it's fair to say that this can be pretty overwhelming for a new player to the game. So let me try and help simplify that for you and help you with choosing which one it is that you want to play, along with understanding what they actually mean. Okay, so let's start off with some of the basics. You're going to be able to choose from 4 different classes for each of the factions in game, which will be the Republic and the Empire. Now, the 4 classes for the Republic faction and the 4 classes for the Imperial faction are exactly the same classes. They just look a little different. For example here, the Sith Warrior from the Imperial faction is the exact same class as the Jedi Knight from the Republic faction. The same again with the Bounty Hunter from the Imperial faction is going to be the same class as the Trooper from the Republic faction. The only thing that changes between these two is how they feel, but only slightly. All of their abilities are the same, along with the utility points, along with the discipline path that they can spec into. While it's true that some of these classes will use different weapons, such as the Gunslinger dual-wielding blaster pistols, with its counterpart or mirrored class, the Sniper, which is obviously using a sniper rifle. They are still one in the same class, they are just using different weapons. If you're having a hard time choosing which one it is that you want to play, then you can look at the advanced classes you can choose from at the top during your character customization. You can even look into the story and the abilities, so you can get a good look at what it is that you are choosing before you actually choose it and start to play it. As we go on, the classes go into a little bit more depth, which brings us to the disciplines that you can choose from. Now, each class is going to be able to choose from 3 different disciplines. Your discipline path is going to decide what role you play and what type of combat style you will play. Now, as for roles, this brings us to the Holy Trinity of MMOs: tanking, damage dealing, and healing. So with your discipline deciding what role you will play, depending on which one you choose, you will become a tank, a damage dealer, or a healer. However, not all of these options are available for every class. So if there is a certain role that you want to play in game, then make sure that you check which one is eligible for that role. For example, the Gunslinger can only play as a damage dealer. It cannot do healing and it cannot do tanking. It can only do damage. Another example is the Commander. The Commander is limited to only damage or healing. It cannot be a tank. So if the idea of being a tank while using a huge ass cannon sounded really good to you, then I'm sorry to shoot you down there, but that's just not going to happen. So like I said, ultimately your discipline is going to decide the role that you play in game, but it's also going to decide the type of combat style you will be using in game. Let's use the Marauder for example this time. Now, the Marauder class can only play as a damage dealer, but it still has 3 different discipline paths that it can choose from, and every single one of these discipline paths are for damage dealing. Now, all of these discipline paths are for damage dealing only. So how are they different? Well, the way they are different is the combat style. You have the discipline path called Carnage, which seems to be the quick-paced and bursty spec to be in for damage. Then you have the Annihilation discipline path, which is the putting dots on your enemy or damage over time abilities, wearing their endurance down over long intense fights. Then you have the Fury discipline path, which is the simpler one and probably the easier one to play out of the 3, where you get to jump around to your targets and deal out a lot of damage at the same time. Another factor which can make your disciplines different is that some of them may focus more on AoE damage, while others are more focused on single target damage. Now, each of these discipline paths are going to give you different passive abilities and active abilities to use in game. Your passive abilities are abilities that are triggered automatically, not requiring you to use them directly. Active abilities, these are the ones that you put on your quick bar to use while you are in combat. You can already inspect what you're going to get in your discipline path simply by pressing the K key on your keyboard and just looking through what you're going to gain as you level up. So that's basically disciplines in a nutshell, but there is something else that does come alongside discipline paths, and that would be your utility points. Now, utility points do not change between discipline paths. This basically means that if you are playing a Sith Warrior, then no matter which discipline path you take, you will still have the same utilities to choose from as you level up. Now, your utility points are kinda like the passive abilities that you gain throughout your discipline path, except you get to choose them yourself. Some of these may reduce cooldowns of your abilities, some of them can make your attack stronger, some of them can give you multiple charges for a certain ability, and the list goes on. Again, you can look through all of these and see what it is that you want to have. As you progress through your discipline path, it's going to give you a utility point to spend here, so make sure you're looking out for that. In fact, you will see the icon on your menu bar flashing when you have a utility point to spend. And I think last but not least, you can change your discipline if you do not like it. There is an NPC on your home fleet, whether it be the Republic fleet or the Imperial fleet, that you can find in the combat section. The NPC will be titled the Skill Mentor, and he can respec you into a different discipline if you don't like the one that you're currently using. Alternatively, you can buy the Field Respecialization through your legacy for 200,000 credits, and you'll be able to respec your discipline anywhere you like. You can just do it manually on the fly. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, make sure you smash the thumbs up button. I've also left 2 more videos on screen for you here, so make sure you check those out if you want to watch some more guides. This entire video guide was created because of one of my Patreons called Christian Ayala, so all of the credit for this video goes over to my Patreon Christian. If you'd like to learn how you can also be credited for a video, then make sure you check out my Patreon link on screen now. The link is also in the description. I'm offering some pretty great rewards for anybody willing to pledge to my Patreon campaign, so again, make sure you check it out if you're into having some cool rewards. These other amazing people on screen have done just that. And with all that being said, that will be the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you in the next one.